talk about understanding independent and dependent variables. An independent variable is the x value. It is the input value that causes the change in the dependent variable. It is the domain of the function. So far you've noticed there has been several names for the x value: input, domain, and now independent variable. Any of those can represent the x value. Dependent variable is the y value. The dependent variable depends on the value of the independent variable, or the x, the output value or range of the function. So for the y value, you've learned that it can be called the dependent variable, the output, or the range of a function. Let's look at an example. The relationship between the cost of attending the movies and the number of tickets is represented in the table. How many tickets you purchase is your decision. That is your independent variable. Okay, your cost depends on how many tickets you buy. So your formula is going to be cost equals 15 times the tickets. $15 times the tickets. So in other words, C equals 15T. So if I buy 6 tickets at $15 each, that's going to be $90. If I buy 8 tickets, times 15 is 120, or 10 tickets at $15 a piece is going to be $150. So your cost is your dependent because it depends on how many tickets you buy. Identify the independent and dependent variable for each situation. So your cell phone bill and the number of minutes used. So your minutes is going to be your independent variable because how you choose how much you talk on the phone, how many minutes you use. The consequence, or what depends on the phone bill, is how many minutes you talk. So the bill is dependent on how many minutes you talk. Y equals 4x plus 2. Remember, your x is your independent, your y is your dependent. How much money you make and the hours you work. So how much money you make is dependent on how many hours you work. So hours is independent, where the money is your dependent. Pause the video, try 4 and 5. On number 4, the number of summative assignments you turned in and your math grade. So your grade is dependent on the assignments that you turn in and the speed you are going and the time it takes you to get there. So the time is dependent on how fast you go, so your speed. Let's talk about independent and dependent relationships using function tables and graphs. For example, the amount of money raised during a bake sale depends on the number of items sold. If each item costs $2, make a function table that illustrates the amount raised for selling 10, 20, 50, or 70 items. Then illustrate the relationship on the graph. Step 1, identify the independent and dependent variables. So independent is the items sold, and then dependent is the money made. They even stated the money raised depends on the number of items sold. The rule of this function would be your equation. So your money made is your y, your items sold would be your x, and you know it's $2 per item. So here's my table. My independent, it tells me to find if 10 items, 20 items, 50 items, and 70 items were sold with a rule of y equals 2x. So I'm going to plug this in. 2 times 10, I'd make $20. 2 times 20, $40. 2 times 50, make $100. 2 times 70, make $140. Now you have your x's and your y's. You can make a coordinate grid. You don't have to go up by ones. You can go up by tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Same thing going up here. You may have to go up by 20s in order to reach all the way up to 140. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. So remember your y values, that's your money made. X values are the items sold. And this is for the bake sale. You need to make sure you label your axes. So when 10 items are sold, you make $20. When 20 items are sold, you make $40. When 50 items are sold, you make $100. When 70 items are sold, you make $140. You can see this is increasing.